Welcome to the Science of Gratitude podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Valerie Mukanga, and each week we'll explore how gratitude transforms our lives through powerful stories and insights. Let's dive in. Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in again to the Science of Gratitude podcast. I am your host, Dr. Valerie Mukanga, and I am here accompanied by my sister, Miss Sheila Libali, who is going to grace our podium today. So, Sister Sheila, may I please have you introduce yourself to our audience?
Sure. My name is Sheila Libali. I am a mother servant of God. I'm a host of My Sister's Keeper podcast and as well as MSK Real Talk, which is a branch of My Sister's Keeper. Yeah, that's who I am.
Wonderful, wonderful. Could you let us know again? You talked a little bit about MSK. We're going to start that way, My Sister's Keeper, and then you talked about the other branch. Would you just tell us a little bit about that before we dive into the episode, please?
Sure. So, My Sister's Keeper is a podcast that is just like this, which is testimonials, but it is, as the name says, My Sister's Keeper. So, it's for women, it's catered to women of all walk of life. Women comes from everywhere, whatever race, whatever background, and they just share their stories of what the Lord did in their lives, of what happened. It's a show that is dedicated to women, as I mentioned, to bring hope back to them, to strengthen their faith. Because as women, sometimes, because we are how can I put it? We take care of the home, and sometimes when the home is falling apart, everybody expects us to be strong, to hold on and not cry and be this and that. But there's sometimes, it's okay to cry. It's okay to go to the Father and say, Lord, I can't do this. I need your help. It's okay to, I remember once I was going through hardship and hard time, and I had people around me that was telling me, it's okay. Got it. God will never give you more than you can bear. All those were good. But one thing that I wish that happened was someone who walked in the same shoes, same path that I went through and came out of it to come and tell me that. Because I think if somebody went through something and they come and they tell you, I understand, you know that they understand because they've been there.
Right.
So that's what My Sister's Keeper is. It's for that woman who's doing the dishes and hearing a testimony and of someone's probably that went through what they're going through, and they're able to stop halfway and be like, Lord, if they can get out of it, if you can bring them out of there, you can surely do it for me as well. And also is a way for us to shame the devil. I always tell people I'm in the business of shaming the devil. So the Bible says in Revelation 12, they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of the testimony, which is one of the main scripture of My Sister's Keeper.
Leg. What is the other leg?
My MSK Real Talk. I am so excited about that. We just started. Your host was one of the first guests on MSK Real Talk. And of course, we talked, I think it was probably like 2 hours posting. I was like, I am not posting this whole thing. So I had to do part 1 and part 2 conversation. On My Sister's Keeper, it's a guest that comes with their story and tell their story. Whereas MSK Real Talk, we talk about real conversation about different areas, different things. Of course, we also put in our stories in there. I'll give an example. We can talk about, depression, for example, and the plan is to have women like an expert or someone who at least in the field that can talk about it more and tell us about it and how we can overcome that. So yeah, I'm very excited.
So My Sister's Keeper and My Sister's Keeper Real Talk, guys. So
Yes.
ladies, if you have a story, if you feel like, you have something to dive into, don't hesitate to contact Miss Sheila. We're going to have the information in the bio and the description so that you're able to contact her and you can bless people with what was your problem that is now something that can turn out to be a solution to somebody else's issue. So now back to the Science of Gratitude podcast. So now, can you please tell us in a few words, in your own terms, what does gratitude mean to you?
An art
It's okay. That's
of
how you feel
of giving thanks, of being grateful for the littlest things that you have.
Yes,
It doesn't have to be big because what, can be small to you can be big for someone else.
this
So
is
the
true.
fact that you have it and you are grateful, it's something that we should be all the time is being grateful for every little things, every big things. You wake up in the morning, I'm grateful. Thank you, Lord. You know, even if you open the fridge and there's nothing in your fridge, Lord, I am grateful because I don't have food in my fridge, but I'm alive. I am grateful.
Right.
And
And I
the
have a
thing is,
fridge. That means that whenever I have the thing, I can put it in the fridge because you could also
exactly,
have the thing and
exactly.
not have a fridge to put it in and it rots. So,
Exactly. I have a yes, you are great. We always think that for me to be grateful, I need to have this big old thing. For example, I'm praying for a house. I need to buy a house. Lord, I need to buy a house. And they deny you, but you get an apartment and you're like, I don't have to, I'm not going to be grateful. Like, I have an apartment. I want a house. Lord, I wanted a house. But you
mhm,
don't know why the Lord allow you to have that apartment and not a house yet, because sometimes we are not ready yet. The Lord will never give you something that you are not ready for. He wants to make sure that when He gives you, that you are ready for it. He will give you a house. You don't know how to maintain it. You don't know how to, it will cause you problems because when you own a house, you have to pay for everything that breaks down. You have to do this, and maybe you don't have the funds to do all that. You have the funds to pay your mortgage. Maybe you
mhm.
don't have money to buy, to pay all that. So just being grateful, being grateful for being alive. So many people did not make it. You started January 1st with 1 million people, for example. And then now this is what July, and there's only like 50,000 people left on the earth. Of course, there's more of us than that, but and you are among those 50,000 people who are left. So you need to be grateful. So yes, you have two parents, you have children, you have your health, so gratitude is being grateful for every little thing, every big thing, every moment, just being grateful. And of course, when I talk about grateful, I'm talking about being grateful to God for
Yeah,
what you have.
right,
Yes.
right. I love it. Thank you so much. I think
You
it's
are.
different. It's always going to evolve. Yeah, evolve a little bit at least. So now, and to the story. Okay, don't mind my singing. Yeah, let's go into your gratitude story today.
Yes. So when we were talking about me being here or about, guests and all that stuff, I was like, I can share about my story. I have so many stories of so many things that God, I'm grateful, gratitude. I'm grateful for everything that I have and I've been through. One of the main thing is, or one of the things that I'm grateful for is, he's not a thing, of course, is my son. He's actually a blessing. When I always tell people, when the Bible says that children are a blessing from
Mhm,
above,
mhm,
my son's picture is right there because he is a blessing. So let me rewind a little bit. So a few years ago, and I graduated high school in Maryland,
mhm,
Silver Spring, Maryland, and moved to North Carolina right after graduation. I was excited. I was like, I'm going to take a year off before I go to college.
mhm.
I still think that was the craziest thing I ever done, and I shouldn't have done that. That's for some people it works. For me, it did not work. I got into a little trouble, not trouble in a fact in a way that I vandalized things, I killed someone. No, but I just got into trouble where yeah, where I just had the wrong people around me. I had friends, I made friends and everything. And to me, we were cool, we were fun, we were yes, I'm living the adult life, semi-adult life
Mhm.
and everything. I was doing my own thing. I turned 18 and I'm like, now nobody can speak to me, nobody can tell me nothing. I can do whatever I want to do. And my mom, being an, how can we say, respectful African woman she is. But
Mhm.
it's not really African, but the woman that she was, but she told me it's either my way or the highway.
Mhm.
So you in this house, you need to be home at this certain time.
Mhm.
You need to do this and you need to do that. And she meant well, but as children, that's why as parents, we need to be careful who we allow our children to be with.
Mhm.
Because at that time, my mom meant well. And I had, as I say, a friend, friends, especially one girl that I thought was my best friend who was whispering in my ears, "You're gonna let your mom talk to you like that? You are 18. You are an adult. You can do whatever." So, and she was like, "Man, you should be able." And she was talking like that, and she was saying things. And at one point, she was able to influence me
Mhm.
into telling my mom, "I'm leaving," because my mom sat me down. I was like, I've had it. I'm not going through this again.
Mhm.
Either you follow my way or no way, or you leave.
Mhm.
Sundays, we go to church. If you don't want to go to church, you can leave. And so I was like, I'm leaving. And I told my friend, come pick me up. And she came and she was like, yeah. And I'm thinking, yeah, she got my back. She's my friend, not knowing that she was, taking me the wrong path. And so I packed up some of my stuff and I left. And my mom's like, give me my keys. I was like, fine. And I go and I give her the key and I left.
To the give me
And
my keys, huh?
so,
To the give me my keys.
yes, because she was like, she in a way, she felt like because of the friends that I had, she was
Yeah.
also, it was just her and I in the apartment. So, it's also for her safety because she doesn't know
Correct.
what else would happen.
Right.
So, yeah. And I was like, fine, I'm leaving, I'm leaving. And so I left. And when I left, I was doing my thing with my friends. Everything was fine. We were drinking and we were doing things. And I had, and at the time, one of the friends that I had was a guy that actually and liked of one of my friends,
Mhm.
and I liked one of his friends, and then that friend didn't like me, like somebody else, and he didn't like my friend, he liked me. So it was a whole twist. So, and we share the same birthday. His birthday is 3 days before mine, the guy. So while we went and we were celebrating our birthdays, everybody, I was tired. I was like, I'm staying in. And so they and went to the restaurant. He came back early and we started talking. And that's where a relationship began between him and I. So we started a relationship and I stayed with my friend, the one that was in my ears. But at one point, I saw things that was not, she was a Jehovah Witness. And so she didn't really, we didn't have the same belief that I grew up in with.
Mhm.
So, and so I realized that there are things she was doing that was just not right. And one of the things she came and she was trying to trap the friend, one of his boyfriend, her boyfriend, sorry. And so I took it to my then boyfriend, and I was like, she's trying to trap him, so you need to talk to him. And it caused a whole issue between her and I. So she
Mhm.
kicked me out of the house, the apartment, and she was neighbor with my brother, who is a pastor right now today.
Mhm.
And so she kicked me out, and I didn't have a place to stay. So before that, every time I passed, like I said, she was neighbor, literally shared a wall with my brother.
Mhm.
And every time I would pass by, I will like walk really fast so I don't meet up with my brother because I knew that he will sit me down, he will tuck my ear off. And I was like, I'm not having this. So I kept on doing, and I don't know how it happened, but I ended up, I don't remember how it happened, but I ended up living with my brother. He lived in a one-bedroom apartment. I think I didn't have a place to stay. But yeah, he asked me one day, he saw me, say, "So you're staying here now?" I was like, well, it's been 3 days. I'm staying with my boyfriend and I have to sneak in his room because his grandmother will not allow, any girl in the house. And so he was like, you can come and stay with me. And so, yes. And he had a one-bedroom apartment. So he left me his room and he was sleeping in the living room. And I remember my mom will come, I if you ask him, he's gonna say he is not. But I always tell people he's my mom's favorite. Of course, he's the firstborn too. So, and he's the least one of us that gave my mom a headache.
Of
So
course.
that's probably why. So my mom, and at the time he was single, so my mom will cook and will bring food. Otherwise, if she didn't bring food, he would eat beans and pasta every day. So, and I would be in the room and I could hear her. She comes, leaves the food, and then she leaves. And knowing the relationship she has with my brother, I know that she knew I was in the house, but she wanted, I was like, I don't want to meet her. I don't want to see her. I don't want to talk to her. And fast forward a few months, I think it was a few weeks later, I wasn't working. My brother sat me down and said, I don't mind you staying here, but there are rules. I didn't want to say before. I wanted you to, to just be comfortable first
Yeah.
before I talk to you. There are some rules in this house. No boys in this house. You have to work. I don't need you to give me anything, but you need to work or go to school, between the two. And I was like, and I was just one of those, like, school is not for me. I don't want to go to school. So I'm going to work. So I went to work, came back. There were police in my brother's, because it was one of those like kind of a townhouse kind of looking. So he had his own small yard.
Mhm.
So there were police there, and I'm coming. I'm like, what's going on? And I'm like afraid, like something happened to my father. And I guess somebody busted in the house, and I guess they went and ransacked my stuff, not his. They didn't touch my brother's stuff, just my stuff.
What?
So because of who I was hanging around with, of course, everybody's thinking it's drugs related. I'm like, I never use drugs. And they're like, it's drugs. You're lying. That's what people who use drugs. I'm like, literally, I don't use drugs. And I really never use drugs ever in my life. So even smoked, like nothing. So, and my brother was like, I told you what would happen if this happened, and my safety is everything. So you either get yourself right or you leave. I left. And at that time, I rejected God. I wanted nothing to do with God because I was like, what's going on? I don't want anything. I had a keychain that says, what would Jesus do on it? And the apartment complex was the way it was, there was a service road and then a highway. So I think we were in the service was walking one day. I took it and I threw it out. And I was like, I don't want to do it. I don't want anything to do with God because He forgot me. He rejected me. I don't have any, like, I just didn't want anything. And I started getting sick. I go to the hospital. First, before that, I went to the hospital and they say I had a cyst. And then the doctor was like, well, the good thing about yours is that the cyst is like it's a round thing, but usually we start worrying when there's things in there because
Mhm.
then if there's something inside it, it's cancerous. But
Mhm.
yours, it's not. So we're gonna keep an eye on it. I was like, okay. So I get sick after that, and I'm like, oh, it's probably just a cyst, and I really got sick. So I go to the hospital, and they were like, I'm pregnant. I was like, oh, Lord. I cannot be pregnant. My mom always told me then I remember I have a mother. So like my mom said, if I've ever had a child out of wedlock, she will
Mhm.
reject me. She's gonna disown me. Oh my gosh, I'm African. I grew up in an African home. I cannot have a child. That's an American thing. That I, And I know it's stereotype, but it's how what was going on in my head at that
In
time.
your head.
And then it didn't help that the father, the my boyfriend at the time came back in my ears and he was like, I will give you whatever you want, whatever you need. Because his mom really, he didn't really work much, but his mom and grandma, they had money. So he was like, I'll give you whatever you want, anything you want. And I was so much in love with him. Well, I
He
was
was in
in,
love.
in love. Like, so when he said, I will give you everything, I was like, I don't need anything, you know. And he was like, well, we will get married and then we will have children. He got me there. I mean, I love love. So you're talking to me about love? You got my attention. So I was like, okay. And he was like, but we cannot have a child now because we need to get married first. I
Right.
was like, what do you want to do? He's like, we cannot afford. You are working part time. I'm barely working. And I'm staying with my grandma. You are sneaking in the house with me. So, because his mom was also staying with the grandma, all of them.
Mhm.
So the
Mhm.
mom knew I was staying there, but the grandmother
The
did
grandma
not
did not.
because she didn't want anyone.
Right.
So I was like, you're right, you're right. And then I'm thinking about on my side, my family will reject me, my family will disown me. So he was like, I will do whatever it is. I will pay for you to have an abortion and everything. And I was like, okay. And his mom comes, pick me up. Well, because at this time we went to my brother's, like the neighborhood, because the friends were still hanging out over there. So she
Mhm.
picks us up from there. And then we go. And before that, when I found out I was pregnant, I told one of my friend, a friend I liked, the boyfriend,
Mhm.
and she was like, "Oh, I'm so excited! I'm gonna be an auntie!" And I'm like, "I know." We started, planning. So when we talked about abortion, and I was like, "Okay, now I have to find a lie to tell her because she didn't believe in abortion."
Mm.
And she was like, so I was like, okay, I want to tell her I fell off the stairs or that something happened. So I'm thinking that while we're driving and we get to the place to have the abortion, I'm there. They give whatever they give to calm me and everything. And then they call me and I sit there. It was not sit. I lay on the table. They got everything ready and they took the machine. And then I couldn't stop moving. I kept on moving and the doctor or whoever, I think it's a doctor, he was like, "You need to stop. You need to stop moving. Otherwise I will hurt you really bad
Ooh.
because the machine will really is you cannot move. You have to stay still." I couldn't stop moving. And he said, "I can't do this."
Mhm.
So he said, "You need to go up front, make an appointment for another day. We will
Mhm.
give you a prescription so that you can get medicine to by the time you get here, it will be easy to go to sleep or whatever, something like that," that he said. I said, okay. And so I made an appointment and we leave. And the day that I'm supposed to now come back so that they can put me to sleep and
Mhm.
do what they have to do.
Mhm.
I think it was the day off. And I can't go. And he was like, "Why?" I said, "I don't know, but I just feel like I can't do this. Like I shouldn't do this." And he's
Mhm.
like, "But I will give you. I told you I will give you everything. We will get married. We can even get married next weekend." I was like,
Wow.
"I love you. I really, really want to marry you, but I just cannot go through with this." He's like, "But how you gonna do it? How you don't have a home and you have?" He's like telling me things, and I'm like, "I don't know how, but I just can't." And then he
Mhm.
told me, "So you either choose either me or the unborn child." So I told him, I was like, "I choose me and I choose the unborn child." And then one of my friend, the one that liked him, calls me and she says, "Sheila, I need to talk to you. It's very important." So we met up at the same apartment where we always go. And then she was like, "Tell me the truth. What's going on?" Because I had already told her the lie that I
Mhm.
was thinking of. And then I told her, no, she said, "Your mom called your mom said that she knows you're pregnant. And so at this time, I had already moved back to my brother because he was like, realized that I didn't have a place to stay. So he just allowed me to stay back with him. So, and so she said, I went to, like, my mom went to my brother's house. And
Mhm.
I guess to prove that I was doing drugs, she went through my stuff
Mhm.
and she saw the pregnancy test. So she
Wow.
said, "Your mom said that she knows that you're pregnant, and she said she wants to talk to you." It's like, no, she's gonna just tell me what I already know and things. So she was like, no, I don't think she will. She really seemed very concerned.
Mhm.
So call your mom. And I was like, fine. So I called my mom, and she said, I'm coming. She didn't say, can I come pick you up? Can
Mhm.
I, the way you would expect. She said, I'm coming to pick you up. Be at your brother's house on this day, on that time. At that time, I was like, okay. So she comes and pick me up. We go to one of her family friends' house. And so she started talking. She was very upset, very mad, you can see. And I was like, I don't think I'm leaving this apartment
Alive.
alive. So this woman, and at the time, I'm like, this crazy woman, because my mom, I really called her crazy because she didn't care about anybody. Years ago, when I was in high school, she slapped me in front of a police officer. When people said that you don't touch a child, before the police, and she slapped me, and then she said, you can take her if you want. And so when a woman can do that, so yeah, I was like, this crazy. So, but she started talking to me. And then she read an email that one of my late aunt wrote her, because I guess she spoke to her about my situation. And so my mom at that moment, everything that I thought about her, everything that I thought she would do was the opposite. She
Wow.
welcomed me, even though her face looked like she was about to kill me with her bare hand,
Mhm.
but her heart was showing something. Her words was saying something else.
Mhm.
And she welcomed me back home the way I was. And so the whole time, my mom was taking care of me. Every doctor's appointment, she was there.
Wow.
Everywhere, like if something happened, she was there. My brother was there. My other brother was had joined the Navy, so he was in Salt Lake City doing
Mhm.
the
At the
training and
base?
stuff.
Okay.
No, doing the training.
Okay,
So
okay.
he wasn't there throughout the thing. That's why I'm not talking about him. But but my brother, my oldest brother, and my mom were there. They were there I went to the hospital many times thinking that, okay, this is it. And it was not it. They sent us back home. And then the last time I went, of course, my mom was like, don't do epidural. You need to have and no C-section. And I was like, okay, no C-section, no epidural. Okay. We get there and they were like, we have to do a C-section. My mom's like, no. And they're looking at her and they look at me, we need to do a C-section. And I
Mm.
was like, well, I'm not doing it. And they were like, you have no choice because the child was ready to come out, but your body is not allowing it. And so we need to get, like, it's an emergency. We need to do that. And so I was like, okay. And so they did the epidural, they did the C-section. The child came out healthy. And at that time, my mom called the, now he's a ex-boyfriend, and tells Sheila just had the baby. So he comes, oh no, Sheila is about to have a baby.
Mhm.
So he comes before they do the C-section. And the doctor said, because it's a C-section, you can only have one person in the room and you
Mhm.
need to choose. And I'm looking, the father of my child and my mother. Who am I going to choose? So I looked, even though I loved him, I still at that time, I looked and I said, Mom, I want you to be with me. And he looked at me like, what? That's my child. I was like, she was with me from day one.
Right.
She's always been there. When I said the love of a mother is something. And so we go, I did a C-section. And my mom was the first one to see my child. And so when they lift him up, my mom's like, "Oh my gosh, he's so beautiful. He's so handsome. Oh my gosh, he's so cute." And they bring the child to me all white with all the gooey and what is it called? Placebo, whatever it's called, placenta. And I'm looking at him, I'm like, "He's the ugliest baby I've ever seen." And my mom was like, "What?" I'm like, "He is so ugly. Why is he so white and so gooey?" And so my mom's like, "He's so beautiful." So they clean him up, and I'm like, "Oh, that he looks like a child now. He's so handsome." And but it so when they were so I stay in the hospital. Usually people stay about 3 days or so after giving birth, even C-section. I was in the hospital for 10 days because every day was something new. am in a hospital and there's what is it called? They gave me food before, you know how they say, sorry, people, if you're eating, I'm so sorry. But like BM, you can't eat before you have a BM or you have
Mhm,
that's gas. And they
mhm.
gave me food before all that. So my stomach kept on getting bigger and bigger
Oh,
and bigger. And then, so they had to put a tube down my nose. They're trying to put it down my throat and I will pull it out. It took 5 nurses to hold me down and an extra one to put the tube down my nose.
wow.
They were like, "Woman, you are strong." And because I was not having it. So the whole 10 days I had to chew down my nose. And because they had to remove, like empty everything from my
Mhm,
stomach.
mhm.
And then at one point, they will come every day, change my dressing. And one day they come to change the dressing like they always do. This was at night. The nurses, my mom was still by my side, and the nurses, as they were about to, they opened the, what is it called? My sheet. They looked at each other, they closed it. And my mom's looking because my mom has been in healthcare for so long. So she knows the look that they give each other. And so my mom's like, "What's going on?" So they will go outside and they come back with a charge nurse. They open, they look, they give each other the same look again. And my mom's like, "Okay, what's going on?"
What's going on?
And they told her, "You see her dressing? It is closed." Like literally, they changed my dressing twice a day, in the morning
Mhm,
and then at night.
mhm,
They changed it in the morning. The dressing, the wound was still open, fine. At night, when they came to clean it, the
mhm.
wound was closed, completely closed,
The
and the
dressing inside.
dressing was inside the wound.
Mm, mm, mm,
So
mm.
they were trying to remove it on the side, trying to remove it, and it was not budging. It was closed as if it was closed for days,
Ooh,
weeks even, months even. And so they were like, "We're gonna have to call the doctor." So the doctor comes in the morning. And that night, my mom is like, "What's going on?" And one of the nurses comes and looks at my mom and said, "You need to ask the doctors what's going on.
mm,
For a childbirth, your daughter has to be in the hospital all this time. And at this time, it's like I spent 7 days already."
wow.
And so it's like, you need to ask them what's going on. You
Mhm,
need to really find an answer because there's something that is not right.
mm,
So my mom's going to, like, she leaves and my mom's like, "I'm going to tell them this. I want to talk to this. So she's like fired up, like, "I'm going to talk to them. Like, what are they doing to my baby?"
mm,
So she goes to sleep. We sleep at night. And my mom, now this is my mom telling the story
mhm.
that when she went to sleep, she was hearing vividly a voice telling her, "You're not going to say anything. You're not going to do anything. You're
Wow.
gonna see what I will do for your daughter. You're gonna see what's gonna happen and with her. But you are not gonna say anything." So in the morning we wake up. Of course, the nurses are like shaking because they're like, "This is a lawsuit, really, because
Yeah.
of everything that's been happening." So they're like coming to my mom, "Do you want coffee? Do you want this? Do you want that?" She's like, "No, no." And she's calm because of what she heard. And the doctor comes, the nurses come. They Of course, you know how they sanitize everything is nice and sanitized and everything. And they glove him and they take the sheet out so he can open the wound and they take the sheet out. All the dressing is on top. The wound is completely open.
This is
Dr. Jesus
massive.
went through already.
Wow.
So the dressing is on top of the wound, and the wound is completely open, clean as if they had cleaned it.
Wow.
And the doctor literally he was like this with his gloves, waiting, and
To
he just
do
looked at the
something.
nurses. He took the gloves off, and he left.
He's like, what did you see? It's like, are you serious right now?
So
Wow.
my mom just smiled, and then that passed. I looked at my son. I picked up my son, and at this moment, I had already because I have trying to do the what is it called? Going to church again, rededicating my life to God before
Amen.
going to the hospital. So throughout that time, when I saw that, when I held my baby and I said, "We're leaving this hospital in 2 days,
Mm.
in 3 days," and 3 days we left the hospital. I left with my son. The enemy didn't stop. He kept on. He kept on, and at one time, the doctor, he had 2 years old, 2 months old. He had to have a hernia surgery.
Mm.
And after that, 9 months, the child would not put pressure on his feet. You pick him up, his feet were just dangling.
Wow.
We took him to the pastor. The pastor prayed and prayed for him. The same day we get home, he's putting pressure. He didn't want to sit down anymore. Few months later, they said we go to a checkup. They said his head kept on getting bigger and bigger and bigger. They
I
said they're
know.
gonna put a shunt in his head, and they give us pamphlets saying after they put the shunt, the child will have mental illness, will be on a wheelchair for the rest of his life. My mom said never. And
Mm.
funny enough, we went to a pastor who ended up being my spiritual father's spiritual father,
Wow.
and he prayed for him and that we're supposed to have surgery. They showed me the x-ray of his head 3 times. We went to two different specialists and they looked. When we came back after the thing, we went and we said, because the pastor said, before they do the surgery, ask them for another scan. They did
Mm-hmm.
another CT scan. The doctor looked, he called another doctor. They looked, nothing. My son, who they said that he was never going to be okay, that he would
Mm-hmm.
stay in a wheelchair.
Mm-hmm.
And today he's serving God. Today
Amen.
he is like I said, my joy. And
Wow.
so that's my gratitude story is how God wanted to end the life of my child before he was born. As the Bible says, when
The
the Lord
enemy.
said to Jeremiah,
How the
before you
enemy
were
wanted to
formed,
end your how the enemy wanted to end your son's life.
with the abortion,
Right.
with the abortion and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But like the Lord said to Jeremiah, before you were formed in your mother's womb, I knew you and I set you apart. And the Lord knew Nathan before he was formed in my womb. And when he was in my stomach, when he was in my womb, the Lord protected him. And today I can say that the Lord has set him apart. And today he's serving God faithfully. So yes, so I am so grateful because God has done it and he's always doing it.
What a beautiful story. And even though I've known you for years, like I did not know all those intricate details. I knew some of them, but definitely not. I've learned myself. Wow. That's amazing to see how God can just declare a thing and do the thing.
Yes.
Also when like he told your mom that, to not say anything, to just watch and see what he would do, and
Yeah.
he did it. And then when they said that putting a shunt, would lead him to disability, your mom said no. She declared the thing and the Lord honored it. So that means
Yes.
that there's power in the word of God coming from
Yes.
the Lord and coming from our mouths also when it's anchored
Yes.
on the word of God.
Yeah.
Wow, what a story. Thank you so much for sharing the story with us
Yeah.
today.
It's my pleasure.
Absolutely. Woo, I'm still overwhelmed here. I'm still overwhelmed here because I mean, when you look, I know her son, and so when you look at Nathan, you do not put all those situations, like they do not cross your mind. He's a big and, big boy, tall, and very, imposing. And so, no, God is good. I thank the Lord for that.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Wow.
And today he preaches even. So
Yeah.
he don't only serve, but he actually preaches. He leads prayer. So
Hmm.
yes, I'm so grateful.
I love everything that the Lord is doing, and I pray the Lord to continue to use him as his own vessel.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yes. Yeah, thank you
I
so much
want
for
to
having me.
ask you this, like I feel like you have so many stories to share. Would it be okay for you to come one more time on the
Three
platform?
times is not enough.
No, the stories are getting better and better.
I would love to, but it will be after my book comes out. I can't give you all those. So this story is also will be on the book, in the book,
Okay,
not on in the
wonderful.
book.
I won't let you release the name of the book, but definitely after the book, I
Yes.
would like to have you so we
Yes.
can dive into the book a little bit. But if somebody wanted to connect with you, I know we'll put it in the description. How can they do so?
Yes. So I am on Facebook. You can Sheila SK Libali. Also, you can join us or email us at my sister's keeper podcast at gmail.com. We're on YouTube as well. Just Google My Sister's Keeper podcast. There's a few of them. You just find the one that has a woman with a crown.
Yes. And the logo looks purple, correct?
Yes. Yes. And
Wonderful.
the woman with the crown is a gold emblem. So yes.
Wonderful. Thank you so much once again for hopping on. Thank you for sharing
It
your
was an
story
honor.
with us. Truly, we are very honored that you are so considerate, as far as like lavishly giving your time and just your presence to bless the podcast. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. I pray the Lord to
It's
bless you. And
amen.
I do pray honestly that if somebody wants to share their story, that they contact you so
Yes.
that you can also have those stories shared on your platform as well.
Yes.
All right. Well,
Yes.
until
No
we
problem.
see you again, and thank you so much, audience, for tuning in. And if you have not yet subscribed to the podcast, if you have not yet subscribed to the podcast, please do not hesitate to do so. You can share this story, be inspired by the story, go back and listen to the story again, because there's so many nuggets to actually pick up as far as, what it is to walk a crazy life of rebellion and coming back to the Lord, as far as experiencing acceptance and the love in spite of feeling like you wish should have been rejected, and how God just walks through the corridors of our our lives day in and day out. So thank you so much. Till
Thank
we
you.
meet again, you be blessed. And thank you so much again.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Bye. See you next time. Thank you for listening to the Science of Gratitude podcast. If this episode resonated with you, please subscribe, share it, and leave us a review. Your support helps us keep spreading the power of gratitude. And until next time, stay grateful. God bless you.